So I thought I would shoot a hopefully short video. Um, Sorry, I've got a bit of a cold. Um, to talk about, probably kind of the last thing you kind of think about when you're trying to design a camper build of any type, whether it's a camper van or you know a pickup truck with a some sort of camper shell on it or whatever. And this is specifically for our FJ Cruiser stealth camper. And what I realized as I was designing this is that, and partially building it because it's a work in progress. But what I realized as I was building this and as I was living with the vehicle in its partially modified state is that some of the things that I was planning on doing were either needed to be modified, or as I'm designing it, I realized that how I'm mounting things, either to the roof rack or to the RTT, or even as part of the build on the interior, part of the furniture, really requires a custom bracket. And fortunately, I have some experience doing this, designing and having these things made for me. I have some really good suppliers that do metal fabrication and powder coating. That I've worked with over the last couple of years, and and they're local, and I know these guys well, and they're fantastic. Um, so basically, what I thought would be helpful is just shoot this quick video to show some of the custom brackets that I've designed that we're going to have made for the FJ Cruiser Stealth Camper. And I'll go through this as quickly as I can to kind of describe what these things are. The first are brackets to mount the light bar on the front of the rooftop tent. And I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, well, don't all light bars come with mounting brackets? And the answer is yes, they all come with mounting brackets. However, they only come with mounting brackets that are designed they're straight, first of all. So they go straight back from the rotational axis point of the light itself back to the surface that the bracket is mounting to. And what I need something that actually drops the light below the point where it actually mounts to the T-slot in the rooftop tent. And the reason I need this is because I've noticed I've already mounted a curved light bar that I bought on Amazon. I haven't lit it up yet. I don't even know what it looks like, but I mounted it to kind of see what it looked like and kind of get some driving experience with it. And mainly I was thinking, this thing might create some additional wind noise. But what I didn't realize it was going to do was create this buffeting sound. It sounds like a drum beating up there. It's highly annoying, trust me. And I think it's a combination of the fact that it's curved, it's raised above the fairing. There's a sizable gap between the fairing that's at the front of the roof rack and the underside of this curved light bar. And I think some sort of crazy vortex is being created. I don't really know. I'm not an aerodynamics engineer, so I'm guessing. I don't really know. But what I think might help is if the light is lowered so that there's a narrower slot at the fairing. Kind of like there's a narrow slot between the fairing and the roof of the FJ, about 1/4 inch, which seems about right. But to do that, to lower the light bar, I need a bracket that is custom, that actually has the mounting point for the light, you can see here, in a drop position relative to the part that mounts the RTT, which is here. So I'm going to do this two ways. I'm going to do a curved light bar bracket that's going to work the existing light bar. I'm going to try that, test it, and see if that works. And if it does, the straight light bar that I've also bought off Amazon, also not very expensive, I'm just going to return. but I'm gonna build all of these brackets at the same time, just because it's more cost effective to do it, as opposed to trying to, like, realizing the curve won't work and then having to do it later. So I'm just gonna do everything at once. And if I use these straight light bars, great. If I don't, great. And same with the curved. But you can see that the curved actually has a slight angle to it. I think it's a 14-degree angle, right and left. And that's to accommodate the curve of the bar, because the ends, and this is something they don't, by the way, never accommodate in the mounting bracket, but the mounting brackets that they ship these things with they're aluminum, they're thin, they're easy to bend. So it's not a big deal that they're not, but these are going to be steel, and they're going to be pretty stiff. So a much stronger bracket than what normally ships with these things, by the manufacturer. So anyway, let's move on. The next is the water tank bracket, which I'm going to make at least 2 of these, maybe 3. I'm not quite sure yet, but right now I'm looking at a 3-foot, 6-inch pressurized PVC water tank that I'm going to use for spraying down things, hosing down dishes, stuff like that. It's probably not sort of a highly potable water source. Most of our potable water is probably going to be in the form of our Rotopacks. They're going to be inside the vehicle, and then also a couple collapsible water jugs that I'm going to buy off Amazon that are also, really designed for potable water. This is going to be sort of just maybe hosing down the dog or hosing down shoes, anything that gets muddy or wet, whatever. But that's going to be mounted to the rooftop tent on the passenger side, just in front of the ladder for the rooftop tent, which is also going to go on the passenger side. So, yeah, I was thinking 4 foot, but 4 foot's a little too long. 3 feet is fine. I'm going to have somewhere between 3 and 4 gallons of water up there. It'll be fine. I'm going to paint it black. It's going to be warm. I can even use it for showering potentially. And then for pressurization, I'm just going to connect it up to the air compressor that we're gonna mount hopefully under the hood, if I can fit it. It should be able to fit it. So anyway, 2 to 3 of these. The brackets that I have for the PVC, this is also a test. So I bought a couple brackets off of McMaster Carr, and it's relatively thin metal. I'm also going to have powder coat those the same time I powder coat all this stuff, and I think they're going to be strong enough. They're definitely strong enough. They're really just pipe hangers, and they're strong enough to hang a pipe sort of mounted vertically. The horizontal, this is a horizontal application for the connection. I'm hopeful that they're going to be strong enough. It's a bit of a test. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but we'll see. It's going to be an experiment. McMaster Carr could not give me any information about this type of application I'm looking for. Nobody really does this, so we're going to see. The other is this 270 awning bracket. We're going to go with the FSR, I think, for the 270. We know that they've had some manufacturing issues in the last year or so, 2 years, I think. But they tell me those issues are behind them. I think it's a great product. I like the weight of it. I think the size of it is fantastic. The coverage of it is fantastic. I think it's pretty strong. So anyway, for a 35-pound 270 awning, I think it's good value. So, and it's super cheap right now. Wish I had the money to buy it right now, but I would. It's super cheap. So they've got it on sale. So we'll see. Maybe I'll spring for it. I don't know. But we're gonna have 3 of these. So the reason that, by the way, the awning comes with mounting brackets, and they're just simple L-shaped brackets. The problem is that the slots in those brackets will not work with the 10 series 80/20 cross beams in my roof rack. Go figure. So I need something that actually has holes space specifically for those T-slots, which I've done. And then, of course, slots for the horizontal slots that are there in the backing plate for the awning itself. So 3 of these. Okay, moving on. Hopefully I'm not going to be interrupted by any notifications like last time I tried to record this. Okay, so the next one is the fridge strap bracket. So this is another one of these things that I may or may not end up using, but I'm going to make it again because it's just more cost effective to make all of these things with the understanding that maybe some of them I won't use. It's fine. It's cheaper than trying to do it later if I do decide I need it. So this is going to get mounted to the front of the fridge tray, just in front of our Iceco fridge freezer, and which I'm not 100% certain I'm going to need to even strap down this fridge, but I'd like to have it just in case. So the way this works is basically there's a strap, 2-cinch straps that go through these slots up to the handles of the fridge and just hold it down. It's very straightforward, nothing fancy about it. And this just bolts into the fridge tray. Okay, moving on. Okay, these last 3 are related to the roof rails. So the custom roof rail. So the reason why this is all custom is because two reasons really. One is, I mean, I have a 4x4 Colorado rooftop tent. It comes, or it has an optional rack system. The problem with their rack system is it's not spaced sufficiently for the Renogy solar panels, 100-watt solar panels that I'm going to be putting up there. So I need custom spacing of the roof rails for the solar panels, which are going to fit down inside of that to minimize drag, aerodynamic drag. So it's going to be, so the solar panels are actually going to be lower than the roof rails. Plus, that allows the roof rails to actually be used for other things. Like, for instance, if I wanted to put a panel board up there, if I had solar panels up above the roof rail, that would be a problem. So because the solar panels are going to be below the roof rails, mounting things to the top of the roof rails will be easy. And in order to accommodate that and allow that to happen more easily, I need load stops. And the load stops serve 2 functions. One is, it's in the name, it's a load stop. It keeps the load from sliding off the roof rail. Makes sense, right? The second thing it has is it has this nice slot. Excuse my voice, I'm got a cold. It has this nice slot that's cut into it that allows a strap to be passed through. So for instance, if we're strapping down that paddle board, that makes a lot easier to do that. So anyway, so that's the load stop, and that actually just gets mounted to the top T-slots that are going to be in that aluminum extrusion beam that's part of the roof rail system. The roof rail tower, and there's 4 of these. The roof rail tower, also 4 of these, will be bolted into at the bottom into the top. Actually, there's only one T-slot. It's not the top T-slot, but it ends up being the top one. But there's one T-slot that's in the rooftop tent upper extrusion. So it's going to be bolted into that using T-nuts, and these are 8mm bolts. And then will also be bolted into the ends of the beam extrusions. But between this and the beam, we'll be putting some plastic caps, and those plastic caps will be silicone in place so that they'll be waterproof and will keep any water from getting into the extrusion itself. So I think that should be nice. So again, 4 of these. And so custom because we only want to be as tall as it needs to be for that beam to clear the top of the rooftop tent and no higher. So just slightly above it. I think it's maybe 1/4 inch. Just try and keep everything as low as possible. That's part of the goal. And then the last one is the solar panel bracket. And I know that there's some aluminum solar panel. I think we're going to actually make this out of aluminum. I'm not sure. Jury's out. Not sure. Most likely probably going to do it out of steel just because steel's so cheap these days. I mean, it's less than $1 a pound. I mean, it's super cheap. And we'll probably use, I don't know, 14 gauge steel for this. Pretty thin. Doesn't have to be super strong. There's going to be 4 of these per panel. There's 2 panels, so there's 8 of these. And so it has 2 slots at the top. Those actually mount to the kind of staggered into the T-slots on the top of the roof beams, the roof rails. And then another slotted opening at the bottom that's going to have a bolt that's going to be mounted from the bottom up until the frame of the solar panel. We're using Renogy 100 watts. So anyway, everything's going to be powder coated the same, lightly textured matte black. I think there's 10 different things, but there's a total of 26 pieces that we're going to be making. And that's not even including anything extra that I have to do. But I'm hopeful that specifically related to, go back a scene. Let's go back 2 scenes. Specifically related to the 270-degree awning, I'm hopeful that just having these 3 will be enough, and I won't need some additional bracket at the pivot point on the back, which I've had to do. I've made custom brackets for GFC owners who want to mount the Alucab shadow awning, just because if you don't have something back there, it's an ungodly mess. I mean, that thing, when you open it up and close it a few times, it'll rip right off. It'll literally just almost destroy your tent, because it's heavy and there's just a lot of torsional, whatever. There's a lot of dynamic forces on that pivot point at the back of that awning. So you really need to stabilize it. And having a bracket that actually kind of wraps around the back corner of the tent, is really a requirement. I don't know about the FSR. It's lighter. It's a lot lighter, and I haven't seen anything that actually looks like it's a requirement for that particular type of awning. So I'm hopeful I can just get by with 3 of these and I'll be fine. But we'll see. Anyway, yeah, so custom brackets. Now, the other unique thing about this, or interesting thing about this, is these are for the most part, very specific to my particular situation with my FJ Cruiser. I don't really see a lot of this translating into other people's needs, but you never know. I mean, for instance, this water tank bracket, that could be something that somebody might decide that they want. If this solution works for me, it might be something that I might say, hey, if you're interested in putting this kind of water tank on your camper, this might be a good way to do it. And I'll have that solution for people if they're interested. Same with some of these other brackets. It's possible. You never know. So anyway, but designing it once, and once I have these designs, if they have to be modified slightly for people, I can do that. It's not a big deal. So, and I always build. I mean, I build to order, so I don't stockpile a lot of inventory of anything. So anyway, that's just the way I run the business. So hopefully this is helpful. If you have any questions, comments, leave them below. I'll do my best to answer. Thanks. See you.